Quarter number 2 is real estate slash business, and I'm always on fire for some black girl magic, so that's what we're about to get into right now. She goes by the name of Tammy Jordan. Tammy, what's up? Let's talk to the people.
Hi.
What up, TJ?
What's going on? How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for coming on 48 minutes
Of
again.
course.
So we got 12 minutes, and the reason why we call it 48 minutes a game, TJ, so you'll know, an NBA game is played 48 minutes. There's 12 minutes per quarter. So this quarter, you're on the hot seat. So you got to give us as much information about real estate as possible. So I'm coming right off the bat. Okay.
Let's go.
What led up to the creation of I Want In?
Okay, so we're on the sports channel. So
yeah,
you know a lot about pivoting, right? So I had three, sum it all up, 3 pivots in my life. 1 pivot, I had single parent. Okay, I had a child at the age of 19. That was 1 pivot. So whatever my plans was, I had to switch it up. Second pivot, I got into mortgage banking and learned everything I could about mortgage banking and the mortgage banking process in regards to purchasing a home. And then 2007, 2008 happened, market crashed. Nobody could find a job in mortgages. Everybody's moving their house. So guess what? Pivot number 2. So then after the market recovered a little bit, went back to work in 2010. And then I said, what's not going to happen is when 2008 happened, I was with no job. The next time, if this happens again, I'm going to make sure I'm not in that position where I'm losing stuff. So what I did, I reinvented myself, okay? And I started concentrating on the areas that was still moving about when the market crashed. So when I went back in and learned everything I could to make sure I made myself marketable for anything that could possibly come down the pipeline in regards to real estate. Third pivot wasn't for me, was for my daughter, who's an athlete. She was in college. She went to school, basketball, track scholarship in college, finished school, ready to work, bam, lupus happened. So the pivot that I was doing for myself, now I had to try to navigate this millennial, how to pivot her life now that all of her life she's been good, and now she had to kind of switch things up. How can I reinvent myself to be able to fuel some energy in her for this disease not to defeat her? So guess what I did? Again.
I love, listen, T. Listen, you got me pivoting. I'm about to go out back on the court because I'm in my office. I'm about to go pivot because the first thing, this is something that's crazy, right? How real estate and basketball go together. The number one thing that I teach is footwork. And footwork is the foundation to everything you could do on the court. Pivoting, shifting, changing direction. If you don't have footwork, you cannot go where you want to go on the court.
Exactly.
Pivoting. So we got a good question for you right off the bat. Bring that question back up.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Multi-family homes or buying a home for yourself for the first investment.
Multi-family home or buying a home for yourself for first. I think you should do it. 1 to 4 family properties. I think that's a great investment. If you're looking to get into the real estate game and you want to get into investing, I think if you can get a 1 to 4 family property, live in one of the units, rent the other ones out, that will be a great way to get yourself into home ownership, B, to be real estate investments.
How long do you have to stay in the unit before you can move out and then rent all 4 units?
It all depends on financing. So if you're going to do a loan with FHA, you will have to stay in that house for at least 1 year before. Okay. At least 1 year. That's if you're going to do FHA financing. If you're going to do conventional financing, then you can live in that house, and then depending on what type of property you want to move to next, you can go ahead and purchase a new property. Just establish occupancy, how you're going to do it, put it all together, make it make sense. So that if you're going to go traditional financing, someone like myself can look at this file and see, make it make sense for me. So I can approve your loan so that you can do these things that you're doing.
So okay, so what's the difference for people out there? And I got a question coming from Corey. But
Mhm.
what's the difference between a conventional loan and the FHA financing?
So
What's the
FHA,
difference?
the FHA is a federal, it's called Federal Housing Administration. And what those loans are designed to do, they're to bring home ownership for people with low to moderate income. And what they allow for you to do is put down a smaller down payment in regards to a little bit, usually you have to put in 20% down. FHA
Right.
allows you to go into a house with only 3.5% down, and it's backed
Wow.
by the government. So you have to pay mortgage insurance and things of that nature in there, but it allows you to get into the house maybe quicker than it will for you to gather up 20%.
Right. What is that income range? Like, what is that income range that you would think that people can qualify for? Because you have some people that may be teetering six figures. You maybe have people that
Playing
are
with me, Chris.
more.
Playing with me, Chris. Playing with me, Chris. There's no cap on the income. But what it does, if it's your first, there are guidelines to this. Okay, there's always caveats to this. So as long as it's going to be utilized as your primary residence, you can
Okay.
do what you want. You can qualify, make what you want, but it makes the program affordable for those who maybe not on the baller side like yourself.
Straight balling. Here's a good question for you, T. Do
Okay.
you need personal credit to get into real estate? If not, what are the first steps that I should take?
You do need personal credit to get into. I mean, if you want to go the traditional way, you want to go conforming limits, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and those entities, you're going to have personal credit. It's very important that you are utilizing your credit, you're paying your bills on time, you are making good decisions, you're not overextended, and credit score requirement can go as low as 500 if you're not really responsible. Okay.
Right.
And that's for FHA. They'll allow you to go 500 on a credit score, and then conventional will allow you to go at 620. So remember something that's because have a lot of credit repair agencies out there now. So people are really conscious about their credit these days. What I need them to understand is your credit in regards to mortgages is different than your credit in regards to a car or credit card. Case in point, if you wasn't so great with your credit before and you have collections and things like that, that does not rule you out from getting a house and qualify. You may not have to pay off collections. You can probably get a house with the collections, with bankruptcy, you can get a house. I mean, so it's pretty cool. And that's a lot of things people don't know. They say, I'm going to wait till I fix my credit. I'm going to wait till I do this. How do you know you have to wait? You don't know.
So what if I was, okay, my bad. We got Tony coming in. Tony, we definitely want to take the question.
All right.
What are the top 3 red flags that underwriters see that would keep a buyer from achieving success and getting a loan approved? Good question, Tony.
That's a good question, Tony. So one thing, when you're in the process and you've already pulled your credit with a lender, don't go buy a car. We see a lot. People will go and acquire I pulled my credit, they have everything, but we're still assessing your file. Don't go buy anything new that's going to hit your credit before you close. Or guess what? Your file going to end back on my desk, and I'm going to say it's not going to happen because now I got to rework this thing again. That's one thing. Another thing, money in the bank. Here you are, want to get money. So what you do is put large deposits in your account that you can't source. What does sourcing mean? We need to know where that money came from. You can't just have someone give you a boatload of cash and drop it into your account. And now you want me to say, oh, he's rich. No, I want to know where it's coming from. So we don't want to see that. We definitely don't want to see that. Another thing that I see, this is a good one. Occupancy.
That was a good one.
A lot of people that want to get into, because right now everyone wants to be a real estate investor, and that's really, really good. Problem is, when you're a first-time home buyer and you want to get into the real estate game, don't tell someone like me, I'm going to say I'm going to live in the house, but I'm going to rent out the units, because guess what? I'm not going to give it to you because now you're telling me you're not going to live in the house. Or they'll get the house and they'll move out before that time frame, and now you have to worry about if somebody going to knock on your door and tell you, let's talk about this loan you said in this house you said you were living that you no longer live in. So there's things that can stop it.
So you got to be patient.
You got to be
got to be patient. That you know that's the whole theme for today on 48 Minutes a Game. It's being patient. You got to be patient with your present self and your future self.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes, you got to be calm. We got another question coming in from Melanie.
They coming in, aren't they, Chris?
They listen. Right now we're on fire. They're on fire. People don't know. Okay, and Mel. It says, is it wise to buy an investment property as your first property?
I think that question is subjective to whoever's buying. Let me tell you what I would do. I would buy myself a 1 to 4 family property. I would live in the first unit. I would rent it all out. I would live in the property. And then I would look for what I want for myself. And then I would switch over to a single family home, because guess what? Nobody's going to ask a question, because I don't want people above me anymore. So it makes sense. If you want to get into real estate investment, buy the 1 to 4 and then transition to the single family home, because that'll make sense to someone like myself who has to review and approve your loan.
Right. Now, I live in California, right? So in LA, I'm looking right now to purchase another home. And so what I'm looking for is a house in the back of a house, which is still considered like
dwelling unit.
It's definitely. So I'm trying to figure this thing out. I'm trying to figure out if I want to go that route, or do I just want to purchase, the house just for me and my family to live in? So what would you suggest to me in looking to buy that unit in the back of the house to have a renter there?
I would definitely say do it. If you can find a property that's like that, you can do it. You can most definitely buy homes with accessory dwelling units. There are some different guidelines that come into effect, when you're doing things like that, but it's definitely something you can do. It's something to consider if you want to buy yourself a house and then get you some rental income in the process. It's definitely something I think you should look into if that's what you want to do. It can be done. You can do it with no financing.
Listen, we got to bring Tony back up. Tony got another question.
Tony got another question? Okay, let's go.
It's on fire because right now, we're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're on like 6 different channels. So people are on, people are watching, and we're going to repost it. So we want to answer these questions.
Okay,
Tony says, is investing in property good for generating retirement income? Tony is on fire.
On fire. Let me just say that. She got that fire. So yes, it is. And case in point, I'm in a situation where my spouse can retire in a couple months. So what I'm doing is I'm acquiring properties. I'm acquiring land. I'm doing some things so that the property can generate an income where he can just buy to the job. You see my shirt, corporate dropout. This was going to happen over here, baby.
Well, I got to support the brand. That's dope.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So do we have another good question coming in? I know Kennedy. Kennedy, you got a question that you want to ask TJ?
You know what? I do want to ask TJ, maybe a question or two. Like I said, we got Black Girl Magic in here, so hype. She killing it.
Let's go.
Okay, so I don't know. This might not be something that you're familiar with, but what I've been hearing is that when it comes to, let's say, buying land, right, that you're acquiring, but you're acquiring it maybe in like a certain county. And let's say you're going to build on top of it, and by building on top of that land, it's going to contribute like jobs. So let's say, for example, like Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, right? Because he has Tyler Perry Studios, I think it's like 100, 200 jobs he added to the city. So let's say I have the big bucks, right? And I wanted to buy a piece of land in Los Angeles County. And that land that I was going to build on, I was going to build something where it was going to create a bunch of jobs. Is there some type of programs that the city could team up with as far as investing in what it is that you're doing? Are you familiar with that?
I am familiar with that. Unfortunately, I don't underwrite those loans, but I have partners that I partner with that does spend their time working on commercial property where you can invest and get some money back from the county and from the state. Each state differs in what they are going to allow, what they're going to add in regards to those things like that. But yes, it's possible. It can happen. I would definitely do it. I have some property now that I'm looking to acquire and that I have, and I plan on pretty much making myself my own little subdivision.
Listen, TJ, listen, I'm blowing you up. I'm blowing you up when I get off here because I've worked so hard for my money. So Now it's all about investments and those things. So I'm rocking with you. Listen, I'm so glad that you came on to
Thank
our
you.
show, and you dropped 12 minutes of game. Like your pivot game is crazy. I see you back there.
Crazy out here.
Corporate drop out. Listen, if you don't mind, we're going to put you backstage because there's so many questions that people have for you that we come back in the fourth quarter. We're
Okay.
going to hit you with more questions. Adam has questions. Tony got another question. We have more questions coming. So we need you to stick around so
Will
they can see how you're on fire, girl. You shooting them jumpers out of the gym.
Fire, man.
Let's
Absolutely
go.
killed